a qualified finance and risk professional with experience spanning audit, fund accounting, financial reporting, and internal controls across leading global firms including PwC, KPMG, BNP Paribas, and WPP's Group M. Currently serving as UK Risks and Controls Manager at Group M, with a track record in balance sheet assurance, stakeholder management, and strengthening governance frameworks to drive financial integrity and operational resilience.
Robbie is a director at Forvis Mazars in the UK, leading the innovation and digital skills function for the firm. Robbie is focused on driving adoption of new digital technologies across the firm in areas like AI, RPA, and data analytics. Within the digital skills space, Robbie is focused on reskilling, upskilling, and deep-skilling the firm for the future. Prior to Forvis Mazars, Robbie helped to build a school of technology at a private education company, was in the leadership team of a governance risk and compliance company which went through acquisition, and worked at large corporates IBM and SAP.
Vineet Jain is a seasoned finance transformation leader with over 2 decades of global experience, currently based in London. A dual qualified chartered accountant, ICAW UK and ICAI India, Vineet specializes in digital finance, emerging technologies, and mergers and acquisitions. His consulting journey spans leading firms such as Total Consultancy Services, TCS, IBM, Deloitte, EY, and McKinsey, with project experience across the UK, US, Middle East, and Asia. He advises mid-sized to large financial institutions and corporates on how to unlock value through finance digitization, data-driven decision-making, and technology-led operating models. Vineet is also deeply engaged in thought leadership. He serves on Elected Council of ICAEW for Technology, Board Member of ICAEW Scotland, Global AI Committee of ICAI, Vice Chair of the ICAI UK Chapter. A passionate advocate for professional collaboration and innovation, Vineet regularly speaks at global forums. He has led delegation events to government department and industry leaders across AI and digital strategy. In recognition of his contributions to the profession, he received the Global Brilliance Award at the UK Parliament in 2024. Beyond the boardroom, Vineet is a marathon runner, having completed the TCS London Marathon. Advocate for women empowerment. Actively supports organ donation awareness in the UK through community volunteering.
Hello, everybody.
A very good afternoon to you, members of the Institute, and all invited guests, and all protocols observed. My name is Brenda Nyagona, and I will be your moderator for this session this afternoon. As mentioned on the screen, our topic for today is technology disruption in the financial arena. I am a member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants Zimbabwe, and I'm proudly a member of the ICAZ UK chapter community. That being said, I want to welcome you all members who have traveled from far and wide, and I hope you will enjoy the British summer and as well the British heritage for those who are visiting the UK for the very first time. Ladies and gentlemen, unlike the technologies we're going to discuss today, I just want to put it out there, I'm not by any way powered by AI. I'm a normal human being, so I'm just here to be facilitating this session. So to kick off our conversation, I want us to take a step back to 2007, Nokia. We all know the story about Nokia. I think round about that time they had 50% market share globally, but within a few years, Nokia is nowhere to be found. I don't know if there is anyone with a Nokia phone in here. So that just shows us how disruptive technology could be. Going into our profession as accountants, as finance individuals, I think a little bit we are in the Nokia version moment because of all these technologies. I think we've all read about how the big fours have already started talking about how they want to reduce the number of graduates they hire because AI can do some of these things. AI can actually do bank reconciliation. They can review the minutes. I remember when we started articles, we would get into the meetings with senior people and we'll be doing summary of minutes. But now with ChatGPT, all these things can be done by AI. So we are at a risk as well to get into that moment. So the question is, how are we adapting to this disruptive technology? So today, we are going to deep dive into all these complexities that are brought about by technology. As much as technology is good, but there are a lot of complexities. Is it just a hype? Is it compatible with the existing systems we have? Can we trust AI to actually do the work that human beings were already doing? So there is a lot of things that we need to consider when it comes to technology. So ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to a deeper conversation that we have today. I think business leaders in the boardrooms right now, they're talking about how much can we trust the decisions made by AI systems? Where do we draw the line between efficiency and accountability? How do we balance innovation with governance, regulation, and ethics? And perhaps most importantly, are we shaping technology or technology is shaping us? The truth is, disruption is not simple. It is messy, very messy and full of contradictions. That is exactly why I have these incredible panelists today. This panel will explore how disruptive technologies is, from blockchain to AI. We now talk about robots doing the work. We talk about chat boxes, blockchain, you name it. A whole lot of these tools are reshaping finance, where risks and opportunities lie. And this has changed the way we audit, the way we report even in our financial statements, and the way stakeholders view the value of companies. Ladies and gentlemen, to help me navigate this, I'm joined by two outstanding panelists. Robbie White, who will focus on digital dexterity and reimagining the accountant of the future. Vineet, who will talk about insights on business transformation, fraud prevention, and the governance tech balance. Their experiences are complementary. Vineet is from finance and Robbie is a tech guy. So we are really balanced and in for a treat today. But before we get into the session, I wanted to say, I'm sure you guys are coming from lunch, you're feeling a bit tired. Maybe I can go straight into some interactive session. And I also wanted to just say, as much as we are in a lecture room, this is not a lecture. It is an interactive session. I challenge you to participate, to challenge, to ask questions, and to take away something home. So I will ask the tech team to put for me a QR code that you can scan on your phones and you can start popping in some words there. So the question is, what's the first word that comes to mind when you hear technology disruption in finance? Okay, job losses, efficiency, fintech, jobless, adaptability, replacement, money, automation. Okay, keep them coming. I think people are worried about losing their jobs here. I see lots of job losses there. Redundancy, replacement, lower costs, extinction, suppression of talent. I like more work-life balance. That's interesting. I like that as well. Unnecessary complications. Technology can be good on that part as well. Unemployment right at the top, so people are afraid of losing their jobs. Okay, I see right there in our colloquial language, which says kumusha, it's like we are going back to your rural areas, so you're being sent back home. That's interesting. So thank you so much, guys, for your contribution. So I think this will stay our conversation. I'm sure you've seen what's coming in more on that. Secondly, if you can put the second question, then we can take it as well. So I think another question is, in your experience, what's the number one reason digital finance initiative stall or fail? So I think this is an option on resistance from staff, poor change management, misaligned leadership, budget constraints, outdated tech stack. So I think one of the key things coming through is poor change management and resistance from staff. It's always difficult to introduce new things when all these technology tools are coming everyone at the very first minute.
And when people are scared of being extinct at the same time.
So it all boils down. So thank you very much for those questions that you have brought up. As I said, this is going to be an interactive session. To begin with, I want to ask 3 people if you can tell us what you want to take away from this conversation. I will extend the mic. If you want to give us some of the things that you are thinking that you need to take away from this session, what's important to you when you hear AI, what would you want to take back, either for your business or on your personal level, because this is not just, technology is not just impacting the business itself, but it's also impacting us as individuals. The skills that we have, are we ready for the future? So I am asking for 3 people. Okay, I'll start with Manyara, then I'll come there. Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much, and good afternoon, everyone. Maybe I would want to know how ethical issues are going to be dealt with, especially when you are looking at AI and the decisions that AI can make on behalf of humans, the implications and the like. So the ethical issues, how are we going to deal with them? Thanks.
Good question, Manyara. Thank you very much. A second one there. We will address them all at the same time.
Thank you. I guess for me, the issue is I want to take home something that will help me to remain relevant and how to be fluid with changing environments. Obviously, it's not going to be debit, credit, double entry anymore, but how do I remain relevant and help solve problems?
Thank you. One final one. Any takers? I see one in front here.
I think there's a lot of skills that are being shown, so many courses popping up, you know. How do you pick the one that is relevant for you and for your role? How do you know this is just a fad that I need to let pass, and which one should I really take up?
Thank you very much, everybody. We can kick off, deep dive into our session. So Robbie and Vineet, over to you. You can answer these first 3 questions and we can kick off into our questions.
I'm calling shotgun on the first one. So first of all, can I just say it's been fantastic to spend some time with some of you and hear some of the questions that are really coming from it. It sounds like there's lots of interesting conversations happening, and one thing I definitely want from today is to be practical. So, on the ethical question, I would like to approach that first. Is the reality is we've always been able to automate things. Automation, AI. Often people say, "Oh, but AI is automating things." We had robotic process automation and even VBAs and macros and things inside of Excel that did automated tasks for us. But the big decision is really, where do you keep people involved in a decision-making process? What we've applied, so I work at Forvis Mazars in the UK. We're a fairly sizable firm here. And what we've applied in our environment is an AI approval committee, which goes through all of the new AI initiatives that are being led into the firm, and then will be anything that goes through that has to be released with a human oversight. So practically, a really practical thing is, for most people who are looking to use AI, have a process in place which, reviews that and approves it, but also somewhere you don't want to lose the human oversight. And if you look at any of the legislation which is being passed, so in Europe, Europe, US, UK, a lot of the areas where there's massive investment, I've seen it in parts of some of the African economies now. They're looking at human oversight being a key determinant, and that's the only way we can keep a real ethical involvement, I would say. And that's been my experience so far in ethics. I don't know if you want to add anything, Vinny.
Hi everybody, good afternoon. Nice to connect with many of you during the break time. And it was good to hear your thoughts, and starting with the AI on ethics. Ethics is one of the most critical issue with AI. And as we stand, these things will evolve over the period. As of now, the issue, what we face from AI models, what we've seen, it's a bias. I'll give an example. In 2014, Amazon was hiring people, and they accidentally were hiring more men than females, which was because the AI machine learning data, what it was built on, wasn't past CVs profiles, which was more male dominated. The law says you need to be unbiased. So accidentally, the AI model was biased and not legally right. Amazon tried to fix it. They couldn't fix it. They have to close it down. These kind of issues will happen. Once we know the model has issue, we have to fix it, or we have to have a human oversight on that. And same way, there are many instances on model bias, on wrong data. That is where we have to take care. So what Robbie shared was, when we start, we have to start with the framework. What can go wrong and where is a zero tolerance? For example, you can't leak client data. We are accountants. For us, if I have a small firm, many of you would have, if you have given access to ChatGPT and any of your article or junior manager, he uploads client financials for his analysis, we need to be careful. So before giving access, we need to be sure what he's using or how it is used. So it's a complex problem, and this problem will further increase. One way I would say, practical solution, there's always somebody pioneer who will solve the problem, or issues crop up. Once you know this issue has crop up or these mistakes have happened, just come back and cross-check that these things are not happening. So that is one. Second, be vigilant. We should not stop entire AI implementation. That will slow down our growth. But same way, we need to have a balanced approach. And a collective people, generally, if I talk about corporates, what I've seen in large corporations in UK, they have a AI governance team where representatives come from finance, HR, legal, and they make decisions by any chance they are flouting any mistake. That's what, if I've given some examples and some relevance.
Just to add, I think really on the framework that Vinny was talking about, there are some fantastic frameworks from the what they call the hyperscalers or your large technology firms. So if you literally Google Microsoft ethical AI framework, they've publicly provided what the framework should cover and how you should test it. So practically, it's a really nice thing to take back, either for your own self, when you're considering working with your clients, you can say, this is my approach, I followed this ethical guideline, which is based on Microsoft globally, so pretty good standard. They have teams focused on this. And if you're a corporate, then they give you, the type of roles that you'll need and the type of practices that you should be, fulfilling. So just, again, practical.
Thank you both for.
Should we do the education ones, or how do you want to do it, Brenda?
Yeah, let's just quickly cover that education one,
cool.
Then we go straight into our conversation.
So the two education things. So the second part of my title, I might have the longest title in this room, guys. I promise you, it's starting to get to me. But the digital skills part of my title is really. I worked in academia and built a school of technology, and one of the biggest things is there's so much content. Trying to find the right stuff is hard, and also, frankly, like in an accounting context, that is even harder, because how you apply. I mean, I might not need to do double entry bookkeeping or whatever. Practically, you might not need to do it, but the same thing still applies. You need to understand whatever that agent or AI is doing. You need to understand that. So, practically, what I would highly recommend is you think about skilling yourself. There are core resources from institutes, either, I'm not sure what ICAZ does, but there are institutes more widely that are doing lots of work in the space that have technical training on how you can use things like Copilot or ChatGPT or other tools in your day-to-day job. And it's practical. It is double entry bookkeeping. How can I apply a tool and what does that look like? All the way to, okay, I want to set up the basics. How do I secure my data before I put it into this model? What does that look like? So I'd encourage you to look at accounting-specific training. And then, and I can give you, if you'd like a list afterwards, I can happily share that around of some of those that we've seen and we use inside of our firm. But the other one is, really there is, across all of the large-scale models, there is loads of publicly available content, but very little of the publicly available content is followed by, I would call them like recognized people. I know that sounds terrible, but the reality is there are recognized people in our profession that will give you guidance around these things. So as an example, inside of the Institute for Chartered Accountants, England and Wales, there is a data analytics team led by a gentleman called Ian Pay. He's recognized across the UK, and he will post regularly, here are some really great insights, whatever. And the other one is, your large tech firms are producing relevant content to their tools, but again, most of what you will use on a day-to-day basis is either Copilot from Microsoft, for I think many people in this room, or ChatGPT, where again they've got an entire education platform that's available to those of you who are looking. So that, practically that's where I'd focus my time on the skills front. Sorry, Brenda.
All right. Thank you both for the insight.
I'll add here something. I'm also a chartered accountant, and I meet with my colleagues with same fear, so which is genuine and right. So your point was what you should do in coming months, maybe a quarter or two. That's an immediate thing. So there's a model which Google uses, 70-20-10. I implement that in my personal career. I don't know what's your role, maybe controller, maybe auditor. So whatever you're doing, or anybody for that, this model applies. 70% is your current role. Rest 20% of your resources, time, money, improving that. If you're working on controllership, what are the skills, automation tools coming which is impacting my role? Rest 10% is a lot of noise is going, okay, I should learn Python, or I should learn dashboards, I should learn coding. So if you put 10%, you're not risking a lot, but you're using 20% of your time in and you can talk to your peer, your seniors, your colleagues. That is one aspect. Now, on your other point, how do you find the resources? Which Robbie shared. The Reliability Institute is the first forum, because all the institutes, Zimbabwe or ICAW or ICI, and even CPS Australia, I generally go through different institute websites, what they're doing. Even the CFAs, they have good content, tested. So consume that. And then you have good people, I would say, like Ian and other people you can follow. That's the other way. And I wouldn't be fearing, I would rather go and learn it, even if there's no much waste. I don't want to waste my time. I'm okay to waste some of my money. So that's a different, I would say, the way it has helped me, a bit of it.
Thank you, Vineet. I think we've all heard about the 70-20-10 rule. I hope we can implement it in our day-to-day. So we are now deep diving into the conversation of today, and I will start asking some few questions that I have prepared for you both. My first question is, how is AI how is AI impacting the accounting industry, and what are some of the most Anyway, back to...
That was needed. Everybody had fear of job loss. You're happy?
It's not powered by AI. I prepared it. Anyway, back to it. How is AI impacting the accounting industry, and what are some of the most promising AI applications that firms should be aware of, or all the companies?
So, so how is AI practically impacting firms today? I'm going to give you 3 examples, really, really quick ones, and then things that you can take back with you. So, inside of our own firm, we use we do private client tax, so individuals tax and individuals financial planning. So, we work with some of the high net worth people across the UK, and what we've actually started to implement as part of that is AI as part of the engagement. So it works alongside a financial planner or a tax consultant. It gives them the support whilst they are having the conversation, but also makes recommendations on live information around what the tax implications would be for an individual, as well as the financial planning thing. So that's really, really practical on the financial planning on the individual side. From a tax perspective, the second thing I'll say is we do R&D, so research and development grants across the UK. It's quite a common thing across most countries. And there's actually been a piece of AI which has been introduced, very, very specific niche AI, which is focused on how you prepare a research and development submission to HMRC, which is our tax authority in the UK. And that AI will take all of the information, again, from engagements. It will pre-package it into a standardized structure for HMRC and will support in the submission. So that's fully built in. But the big thing there, the big difference between the private client one and this one, is that it is very, very focused. It's the model is trained specifically on research and development and what it does. And then the third thing that we've seen, so I've worked with a number of clients, as I'm sure Vineet has, and we've seen massive rollouts of general your agentic AI across the business, across businesses. So the likes of a Copilot rollout, we've rolled out, again, as an organization, we've rolled out Copilot. We've seen that happen in a number of clients of ours, and the savings on time has been significant. What's particularly interesting is when you look at the price point seems quite high. And I mean, I'll be honest with you, when we first looked at it, we were a little bit cautious. But if you look at the savings on time, which we saw through our process, it immediately justified the extra investment. So it worked out in the UK, in our context anyway, that if we could save approximately 5 minutes a day based on billable time back, we'd be able to more than recuperate our cost. So, if you can find those use cases, might be research related and others, those are key things. For you, practical thing you can do tomorrow. Whatever the approved tool is that you have, it might be Copilot, it might be ChatGPT, it might be Gemini from Google, whatever the approved tool is. Your research that you do before you go into any client meeting is easily done through the new research models built into pretty much any platform. And the second thing is you can practically now start to look at how you build out standardized processes. So forget about agentic AI and agents doing the work, just looking at standard automations where you can take an Excel, whatever it is, and do your standard reports out of that. That's all pre-built. So that would be my kind of different views of what's being impacting firms today. It's across the board. It's not unique in one area. And then practical thing that you can do is start to look at two niche areas where you could apply.
Vineet, do you have anything to add on this one?
Yeah. So the ask is how technologies are changing, how they're helping finance team.
Yeah.
When you talk about technologies, there are multiple technologies. ERPs, even Excel is a technology, and then you have agentic AI, blockchain, there are multiple technologies. Depending on the firm, I'll talk about ERP, which has been there for 20 years. Even the ERP has changed. The ERP, what we used to have when I was article in SAP, I worked 20 years, 25 years back, which has changed. Now it's more integrated. The same SAP I worked. So earlier things were manual. Now it's more integrated. You have OCR technologies integrated. You have suppliers who feed in information directly on your system. Your emails are integrated. So that's a trend which has changed. They want to integrate things, which is a good thing. Which means your things are changing from periodic close to more speedy close, continuous reconciliation, real-time data. That's the change which technology has brought in, which CFOs want. Now, let me talk about other technology, blockchain. It's very powerful, very powerful. But has it been useful? I haven't, there are use cases. Many are using it. It's not that successful. It has its own issues because it's a platform. You need to have many companies onboarded. Even AP Mala Musk was trying to get the ports, the shipping companies, everybody onboarded in platform. It has taken years. It's not successful. So depending on the technology, some technologies have not evolved. Now, other technology, what has come? In the finance function we work, it's more of collaboration. If we are collecting budgets in a season, we work with marketing team, or we are doing variance analysis. With simple SharePoint, now Excel, we used to share through emails. Now things are on SharePoint. It's much easier to collaborate. So things have evolved. The same Excel has changed. It's more integrated. Now workflow has come in play. You take anything, your approvals, your junior approves, you approve, disapprove, it flows directly. This is the way technology has evolved. All the technologies. Now we talk about AI, agentic AI. In some cases, it's getting used. It's very useful technology. I would say that many things will be successful, some will fail it. If you talk about audit, with AI, more frauds are getting detected. the more frauds get detected, or I would say we can save, a CFO or a bank or a corporation is more safer. That's the power which technology has provided, analytics. That I would say is multiple examples from multiple technology aspects. I'll pass on for...
Okay. Thank you for that. I think this conversation leads us to the next question I have here. What are the key areas within accounting where automation can lead to significant efficiencies and cost savings? Because we cannot just talk about this AI without cost saving. At the end of the day, we are looking at our bottom line, right? So what are the potential risks and challenges that comes with this AI?
I'm yet to find a CFO who says, you know what I really want? Client experience, or I really want quality. It's always going to be bottom line, right? So let's call it what it is. And what I've seen, in our use cases when we've also had to build it out, is it has to be tangible bottom line, because the hard thing is there's time saving. Lots of people say to me, oh, we're going to save loads of time doing this. It's like, great, what are we going to do with the time? I've got 4 minutes back. What do I do with 4 minutes? Does that mean I need to fire somebody in the next year? Those types of questions are difficult questions. But practically, how is this impacting accountants, and what does that look like? So practical implications in the accounting process that we've started to see. So I've shared some inside of tax, but let me speak about the financial close and some of the automations that we've started to see. So we do statutory reporting, so stats reports, standardized to IFRS standards that we have to do out. One of the most challenging things is when you need to do statutory reports, you might use, an example might be caseware. There's many others out there, but as an example, there will be a predefined GL that you get, and you need to get it into a standardized process. We've built AI agents that automatically take out of GLs, so Xero or Sage or whatever it may be, ACPAC, and migrate that into a predefined statutory reporting standard, and then write out the actual commentary notes against that IFRS standard. So where we're starting to get to is that entire process of what used to be stats reporting is largely automated. And on top of it, what the human is then doing is making clear decisions of where, when the AI has apportioned cost or apportioned things into the stats, has it done it correctly? But then when we do the notes or the writing at the bottom, are the notes correctly flowing through? So is the information that's shared on the financial reports or the financial statements that are being published out correct? So that automation process is really key. The other thing that we're starting to see from an automation perspective, because this is, again, there is time saving and there is revenue generating. One of the most challenging things, we will generally see is if you're an outsourced function, if you provide finance support for an organization, you'll be expected to do, monthly close or any standardized closes. And what we found is there's certain things inside of a financial close that you can automate through agents. So examples of that might be reconciliations. So do the reconciliation as a standard practice. You would have manually done that in the past, but you let an agent run the reconciliation and then show you what the potential challenges are. Or the other one that we've started to see is just let the agent run through a bunch of different steps for the financial close, and then you do a full review with a manager or with somebody who's got an oversight of that. So I'd say those are two practical things, and automation is, it's only going to increase because it's getting easier and easier with agents that are out there now.
Thank you, Robbie. Do you have anything to add on this one, Vineet?
So
I think the question is, what are the key areas within accounting where automation can lead to significant efficiencies and cost savings?
Yeah, so one is definitely account closing. That's a significant progress, and I've done a study when I was used to in McKinsey. the company which closes, which is faster in its closing, its share prices are generally goes higher. So that's always the reason CEOs and CFOs both push to close fast and with accuracy. That's one thing. Other key place where it's making a big impact is what we spoke some time back was finding anomalies of fraud. That it's very fast now. It can see the data, the models can give, these are possible areas. So which earlier you had to do audit or come back, now you can stop it. I worked on one of the public sector, I'm not naming that client, on the fraud part. So because of technology, we were able to save the future fraud we built in. So that is one big thing where big leakage happens. It's not just the money, it's a reputation risk also, which goes off, and there's a risk of litigations. That's, I would say, the second big area where this is making big.
Thank you for that. I guess what I am taking away from this is automation is not really bad. It can actually lead to not just job losses, but it can actually lead to fraud being detected. I think that's one of the key things, which normally as a human being, you might not be able to pick it up. So interesting to note that.
I just want to say also, I think just around the job losses and fear, because I think it's important, and if we don't address it, then I will feel bad afterwards. There's two things, guys. Fraud, the things that we're talking about here, they are already happening. So, whether we want to look at more automation or we want to look at AI more or not, the ship has sailed. It has gone. And I think what's incredible about accountants and why they have done so well is that the profession has changed significantly over time, and actually you've adapted. My encouragement is don't push this to a side and think it's going to go away, because it's not. It's just not going to go away. It's going to be a part of your industry as you go forward. And the other thing is, there will not be enough people. This is just a fact. If you look at any of the statistics, any of the research in this, there will not be enough people looking at the governance and oversight and controls and ethics around AI. And that is the future role of what accountants are. Professional skepticism is built into your profession. It is quite literally part of the exams, everything that you're already doing. Using that to apply it to how AI is used in a work context and the decisions that are made, you have all got that skill. In this room today, you already have it. You just haven't applied it in the same way. And I just want to encourage you that that's something that's not going to go away and that you will always be valuable for. So don't worry too much about extinction. I'm confident.
So we are not losing our jobs. So I think it takes us to a question that I did have here. In terms of digital skills for the future, as much as we want to say we might not lose our jobs, but we need to be prepared, because if we are not, we will definitely be out of the jobs. So what are the essential digital skills that accounting professionals need to develop to stay relevant in the ever-evolving digital space? And how can they effectively upskill or reskill? So at the end of the day, I think the skills that we had maybe 10 years ago, it's not really relevant now. So I think the question that everyone is asking, what are the skills that we need to have to be prepared for the future? So if you do have some practical ones that you can share, that would be really good.
Don't do code. I'm just going to throw it out there really early on, because I have a strong opinion. Maybe Vineet's going to fight with me. This could be fun. I back myself in a fight. I think the biggest thing I would say, practical, is prompt engineering, or just being able to do good prompt writing. So when you're typing into ChatGPT, or you're typing into Copilot, or you're typing into whatever the tool is, frankly, for all I know, there could be another tool around the corner. I mean, DeepSeek was a great, everybody's happy with what we've got. Oh, here comes a random piece of technology. Now, the ability to prompt or to ask good questions is a skill. And there are literally courses on prompt engineering, but also that just comes with practice. So go out and do it. So that would be a really practical thing. And if you look at LinkedIn research around most relevant skills for the future, I believe it's number 1 or number 2. I've forgotten which one now because it's varied year on year. The second one, guys, shock and horror, problem solving. I promise you, and it might not, I mean, I love the African context, you know, being South African and, you know, having worked across Africa. One thing that Africans know what to do is to solve problems. I'm telling you. If you can't solve a problem, Africa's not for you. Simple. So,
true.
but the reality is that if you think you can just become an accountant and that guarantees you a job, and you haven't learned that skill of problem solving, fundamentally, that is going to be a key thing in the future, because the ability to identify problems, solve them, ideally make your CFO money, as we have learned, those are going to be key. And then the third one, which is quite close to me, I lead an innovation function inside of a firm. So, and I might agree on the 70-20-10. I always, you know, I think that 10% is awkward because I like to test lots of stuff and play around at midnight. That's me. But curiosity as a skill set. And it's funny because we teach, so part of my business is I teach some of the partners inside of our firm as well as clients around the context of curiosity. And what that is, if you're wondering, it's this ability to step into things you do not know and try to learn how you would solve that thing. So if you don't know how you're going to start a business in, I don't know, a completely new area to you, the ability to put yourself in that area, challenge yourself with a new set of skills, have to learn something really, really quickly and apply it with agility. That is what curiosity practically means. It's not just asking good questions. It's asking good questions and trying things against them. So those are my 3 skills that I would practically do. Prompt engineering, there are courses. Again, I can give you a bunch afterwards. The easiest one to take up immediately is there's a great course by IBM, actually around prompt engineering, which is fully free. Oh, my baby. I would well, if you need a babysitter, I'm the guy, I'm telling you.
Fear of prompt engineering.
Yeah. Don't be afraid, my girl. It'll be okay. But yeah, those would be my 3 areas. I think curiosity is a difficult one. The only way you do it is you put yourself in uncomfortable positions, and the only way you can do that, frankly, is try and start something new in the 10% that Vineet spoke about. And then problem solving is a daily thing. If you are not solving a problem, then your job will become redundant. As far as I'm concerned, if you are not solving a problem, if you are just doing bookkeeping for bookkeeping's sake, guys, then get uncomfortable quickly. But yeah, if you're solving problems, you're okay.
Thank you, Robbie.
Thank you.
I think you nailed it when you said in Africa, problem solving, it's the number 1. I think I always have respect for the accountants that are in Zimbabwe. Things are constantly changing. You hear them talk about IS 21, things have just changed. They need to be on top of things, but they always get it. So much respect, especially for Zimbabweans. They are on top of things.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
So I'll add to, first I agree to your point, we don't have disconnect. In fact, prompt engineering, I do some, what Robbie has said, institutions, what they follow and that they train it. As my voluntary work, on my website I give some prompt engineering for different roles. I'm about to put for FP&A roles, I'm working on that. For FP&A at different level, you're analyst or you're manager or CFO, what are the prompts you can use and what are the results you get it. So I have one prompt engineering on my, these are free. You can straight download it. So that's must. That's a must. Now, the point was how do you upgrade and answering to fear. If I divide in three buckets, entry-level professionals or 20 years to 30 years or something, then mid-level and somebody seniors. What I have heard some people like, we are over 40 or 50, it's difficult for us to change. Or a CFO. For me, it's difficult to sustain my job because I can't learn, I have to run my department function also. So for everybody, there's a different recipe. For a entry-level person, I will take an example, who is doing book entry. For him, learning Power BI is important. So for him, automation, RPA, or how you can use macros, which was in Excel, how you can use Copilot is important. A 10-20% improvement in his work, adopting what is there. For a manager, middle level, or senior manager, he should know Python or SQL, how to extract data. He should know how to read AI-generated reports. AI is going to generate reports. You should know how to use it. And you should not blindly take it. It does mistakes. You have to challenge and you should be able to check back, audit it. That's for the manager's middle. For the CFO, for him, the skills he needs to embrace is, he has multiple roles. He has to run a function. He has to upskill his people. Which technologies, 2 or 3 technologies, he wants his team to be trained. The framework he should make, data governance, guardrails for AI or anything, what he should make, then that is for him. He is not there to learn Python, he is not there to learn. He is to make that function. Ethics, what was rightly asked. So depending on the role you're playing, there's always a 10 to 20% which you can adopt. If an analyst is trying to learn on ethics, it's good to have it, but he won't be implementing that kind of ethics framework for the organization. So, and many of these things, if you just put like prompt engineering, what Robbie said, if you write in ChatGPT, my role is analyst, tell me 4 things I can do to improve my tech knowledge, and these are products you tell me. Give a list, take those, put a program for yourself for next 1 quarter, 2 quarters, you learn it. It's not difficult. And again on job loss, I'll give an example. It's not the AI. AI, I'll give you one example. A 5,000 pound, for AI, it's, you have set a rule, it's material. No, 5,000 pound on sales value could be immaterial because we are accountants, we talk about materiality. But a 5,000 amount loss on hedge fund transaction is material. AI won't be able to do it. You need a supervisor who has to check the data. So your role from doing that changes to check what AI is doing. Is it doing right or wrong? And that AI model has to be updated every quarter or every 2 quarters. Can you put that rules to that AI? Can you put your IFRS understanding to that AI? So pivot your career, pivot your knowledge towards giving your task. AI is your friend, frankly speaking. Delegate your work to him. Be free. That's my...
Thank you for that. I think our first session that we were covering was reimagining the accountant of the future, and we have just wrapped it up. I think the key takeaway from here is we are not losing our jobs. We still need humans to look at what AI is spitting out. I'm sure we've all seen some of the answers that come through from ChatGPT. They're not exactly correct. Sometimes I use it to write an email. When you read it, you realize, no, this doesn't have a human touch. I need to re-edit it. So definitely, we are not losing our jobs. We are still in for it. Obviously, we do need to upskill as we continue. So our next session, a second part of our discussion is the transformation pitfalls that I put on the Slido previously to talk about the reason why digital initiatives are failing. So I think most of you, the choice you made was poor change management, and I think misaligned leadership, and also budget constraints was topping up. I think those were the 3 key ones. So I think I'm diving into questions with regards to the actual implementation of technology. So my first question is, what should business leaders prioritize when embedding prevention technologies into financial systems without compromising customer trust or agility? I think that's for you, Robbie.
So the biggest thing to prioritize, in my opinion, but I know we had the conversation before, so I guess is around the data. You cannot underestimate how important the underlying data will be in everything that you're going to use as you go forward. Whatever we speak about from an AI perspective, whatever you want to do from an analytics perspective, one of the single most important things is going to be the quality of the data that you have, and how you use that data. Now, often, what I will say is often you never think, I'm never going to use that. I don't need that stupid data. That's irrelevant for me. But what I have found, I've been doing this for quite a long time. I used to have hair. That gives you an example of how long it's been. What I've learned through this is the more data you have and the better structured that data is, the more easy it is for you to make decisions from over time. So if you don't have the data, none of this is going to be possible if it isn't well structured. So I think if there was one thing I would prioritize and focus on, that would be it. It would be underlying data and how you structure that from the very beginning. Okay. But am I right, Vineet?
We spoke about that.
Yeah, I was about to say, I teed you up.
Yeah.
So I think I will go to the next question because I'm looking at my time. We need to quickly wrap up. So I think the key thing that every business leader right now is looking for is how do I strike the right governance tech balance where innovation thrives but accountability isn't lost, because there is a balance between the two. I guess that question is for both of you, if you can unpack for us.
Harvard. I'll leave the hard ones to you, Vinny.
So,
I will repeat the question just in case. Yeah. So how do business leaders strike the balance, the right balance between governance, tech balance? How do business leaders strike the right governance, tech balance, where innovation thrives but accountability isn't lost?
So the easiest thing is what Africa is famous for, problem solving. Within leadership, if I talk about CFOs, they have few roles. One is accuracy of data, second is cost reduction, which is common, or faster close, or good budgeting. I'll take two examples. If the target is good budgeting, so you have 3-4 challenges. Functionally, you have to, at the end, functionally, the technology should support the pain point or something, a growth factor or a pain point of the business. I'll take an example of Novartis. Novartis used to take 10 months to do FP&A, but using AI and ML, they reduced this. It took them 1.5 years to do that. So they balanced it. They balanced the technology rollout, and they saw the benefits. And in that, they changed the model also. It's not just the technology, AI, ML. Earlier, when they used to do FP&A, they used to do bottoms-up approach, collect all the data, FP&A from all the departments, and that used to get clubbed. And the collaboration used to take time. They changed it. They changed, no, we are not going to do the estimate, it's bottoms up, we are going to do top down. First of all, that is first thing, model, they've changed it. Then they infused AI ML. They went that, okay, our business is dependent on hospitals, beds, and then they use those business drivers and put in AI ML. And then they started doing the estimates. And they implemented the right model, which was not accurate initially. They tuned it, and it took time to balance it. And then they reduced the 10 months to around 6 weeks period. This is the way they balanced the operating model redesign with technology. This is a way you have to do everything. Now, when agentic AI comes, it's already there. It's in next 1.5 years, you will see a lot of agents. What leaders have to do? They have to redesign their operating model, first of all. Many of the jobs will be done by agents. And we were talking about filling data in the timesheet. Agent will do it. Okay, can I populate? Which was Robbie's example. I stole it. So
we shared it. We shared.
Now, as of now, in HR or finance department, the CFO places, okay, I have 10 analysts or 10 managers, these are these roles, and these are tasks, they do it. It will change in next 1.5 years. You will say, I have 10 people who do these jobs, I have 5 agents who are doing these jobs. They automatically reply to the queries, or they collect the data, integrate, and my analyst, he reviews the data. So his role will change, the operating model, and he will balance between AI, agents, and the real humans. That's the way a leader has to evolve. And where he is balancing people, technology, and the operating model. And over the period, he is going to train his people, because training, change management, most difficult thing. Everybody has a fear. People don't know. That's his role. Nobody CFO wants his people to be fired. He has to train, okay, you guys train on these things. That's the way things will evolve.
Just on the balance thing quickly, I think the one thing is also think about agile teams and small teams. The smaller the team is, the easier you can test things, the easier you're able to test, the quicker you can make a decision. So if you have a small team that tests something and they have relatively low governance risk, then you can test quickly, see if it's successful. If you can see it's successful, then you can expand. It's what we applied for when we did our co-pilot rollout. We started with 5 people, we went to 15 people, we went to 50 people, and now we're going to be rolling out to 3,500 in the UK. So it's a practical example.
Thank you. I think my final question before we get questions from the audience is, what does it take to build a digitally fluent finance workforce? I think we have initially spoken about how the traditional career ladder is being disrupted, because we used to have your training as an articled clerk, you move to be a supervisor, you become a manager, director, and it goes on like that. But with this digital transformation, we are seeing that we might not have the associates, we might not have senior associates probably. So I think the question is, how are we building a digitally fluent finance workforce from the trainee to the CFO? And you clearly highlighted also CFOs might be middle-aged. They're saying, I'm not used to this. I cannot change. I cannot start to work on these new technologies that are coming in. So where is the balance in terms of how do we upskill? How do we have a finance-ready team that will be able to adopt all these tools that we have spoken about?
So I'll take an example of, I generally take real examples. That's the way being accountant, relying on the real things. There's a company going in Gartner, I read from Gartner, Iron Mountain. So they were in the accounts receivable department. The accounts receivable, the more you receive money, faster it's better, and the lesser debt. If somebody's not paying, receive it. So there were 2 guys who worked on, with no technical background, they worked on creating machine learning with the past payment schedule, and this happened long time back. This is not a recent case study, this is long time back, when ML was not so famous, machine learning. They created model and they identified these are the risky potential customers will not pay. And they started calling them faster or giving them some discount to get it, which reduced their bad debt. What this example teaches, this is a real Iron Mountain example. What this teaches, that there's always something we can do it, even if we are chartered accountants, but we can do it. In our roles, especially, we have to accept it. Now, how the departments are changing. Now, earlier it was, in a finance function, it was all, when I used to be in Oil India, it was all bookkeepers and these things. Now, in a modern AI function, you have bookkeepers, not bookkeepers, I would say analysts. You have data scientists also. This will fade away further. Your analyst will have data science knowledge. he should be able to read. So he'll address that 10-20% of that component. So he'll not rely on those skills. So if you embed some technology in you, that's much easier. And that's really easy. A technology person cannot be hired. It's very difficult for a technology person to read and understand finance. What is materiality? How do you have to manage SOX compliance? No, but for us, it's much easier to accept technology. So our competition is not technology, guys. Our competition is, if I'm not upgraded, other accountant with AI and technology, he's real competition to me. Technology is not. Technology will be there. The genie is out of the bottle. It will be there. So that's, I would say, that's the way things will evolve. And it will keep, I would say. And not only this, I read these things, and some of these things are theory. Once you read, now people are saying they will poison the data. Data poisoning concept is coming. Because everything is, if you have to disrupt, then prompt engineering disruption will be there, because people can abuse. And once we evolve, we have to address those problems also. So it's better to accept, read, and just move.
Digitally fluid finance function. I love that word, by the way. Possibly the best description of what the future looks like. I think a digitally fluid finance function, the first thing that is important is you are giving time to people to go and learn those new skills. So there is no point in saying you should go and learn this new skill if you have no time to do it. So if you are in leadership positions, or if you are yourself looking to do this and you want to be part of a digitally fluent, you have to give time to it. It's not going to just happen. So that's the first thing. I think that applies to the current AI thing, but it'll apply in the future as well. I think the second thing that's super important is you have to play. I know this is like the weirdest thing to tell people, but I feel like accountants need to hear it a lot. You actually have to try something, fail, to be successful in the future. So try something and fail. And then the last thing I'll say is digital fluency is a mindset thing. It doesn't, you have to actually, once you've tried, I hear so many people say, my favorite words, it's like I'm a super tech nerd. I mean, I'm nerdy, I accept this. But so many people say to me, Robbie, I'm not a techie. I'm like, no, but you do accounting inside of a bookkeeping solution every single day, and you know how to do all of this stuff. You are technical. You understand technology. Becoming comfortable with this concept that you don't have to be a tech nerd like Robbie to be able to use certain technologies is really important. That belief in yourself, I think, is key. So those three things from me. Thank you, Brenda.
All right. Thank you, Robbie and Vineet. I think we have come to the end of our time. But what I'll do, I'll just allow me, MC, to take just 2 questions from the audience, just in closing. Quickly, but we'll have quick answers to wrap it up.
Oh, the super speed. Come,
Yeah.
The super speed round, guys, come on. Hit me. Who's got questions? There's one up there. Speed of light. Look at him go.
Thanks. A quick one. What are the... so I know ChatGPT is more like a vanilla option for AI. Do you have any specific ones for finance, especially for financial controls, that are to watch out for in the next 2 years or so?
Oh, awesome. I can take that. Vinny, I've taken Vinny's microphone, so he's literally. So, specific to finance, there's 2 different things. There is Copilot for Finance, which is incredibly good because it's built into Excel. And the joy of Copilot for Finance is that it's designed for finance. So a lot of the stuff that you do, reconciliations, month-end statements, forecast reviews, is kind of part of the standard model. So that's super, super helpful. And I think what you'll start to see is there'll be more. They've just released training now inside of ChatGPT around a finance-specific model. And in Copilot, they've literally, I say literally, it's probably been about 2 months now, but there's what's called the analyst agent. And the analyst agent will build predefined models using Excel generally to do reporting. So I think My immediate thing is Copilot, because it's easy, it'll integrate into your current workflow and probably into Excel. And then after that, in the foreseeable future, I would say ChatGPT is the fastest moving model at the minute.
Thank you.
So I'll add.
If we can just take one, you can take this question.
You can take it.
Can I ask maybe, then maybe answer at the same time? I'm not very worried about these technical issues. I'm worried about the day-to-day living. I'll give you an example. I called my secretary to come into the boardroom. And my iPhone then says to me, I don't have a body, I can't come. That's AI. I was in my bedroom, obviously speaking to my wife in a vernacular, and then AI says to me, you are either speaking Chinese or another language you do not understand. And then we spoke about this holiday 2 months ago, and I started receiving emails telling me places to go in Europe. Now, you tell me how safe I am with AI.
I'm too safe.
Do you want to grab it? Sure. A very quick answer. So I will, anybody who is using any form of Alexa, Google Home, any of those things, check how you've set up your security protocols on them, because if you haven't checked it, it actually captures all of that and you've signed up to that in the T's and C's. So step one. Step two, any data that you are putting out in any form, client-specific data, whatever it may be, read, please, I'm begging you. I know it's painful, but particularly on these type of tools, just make sure you're reading the terms and conditions, because so many of them are harvesting your data and are using it in certain ways, particularly if they are selling something afterwards. So the Amazons, any of those areas. So, but the biggest thing I'll say is they are going to get massive fines if they're ever caught actually keeping your data. So I personally am not too worried. I have an Alexa device in almost every room. But yeah.
I can tell you how safe I am, if that you. I had 2 cyber attacks in last 1.5 years, and I lost money. So even I'm not very advanced in technologically, but at least I know something. Still, I had 2 cyber attacks. Substantial amount was lost. So it's a difficult answer.
I think simple, this is safe new technology. So in wrapping up, thank you very much to all of you for participating, and thanks to our speakers.